Well, hey sweet people, and welcome back to my channel, or if it's your first time here, welcome especially. I'm Sally, and I am so glad that you've stopped by. I am a holistic nutritionist. Specifically, I am a nutritional therapy practitioner, and I thought it would be fun and hopefully helpful to give y'all a little bit of a peek into what a realistic grocery haul looks like for me. So that's what we're doing today. It's been a while since I filmed a grocery haul, so I thought it would be fun. I always enjoy making them and also watching them when other people make them. I also just have to acknowledge the 3 identical pictures behind me. I can't remember if I said this in a previous video or not, but we are getting our own prints to put in those frames. They just haven't arrived yet, so don't mind the identical black and white prints. Without further ado, we're gonna hop into it. Just a couple logistics, I suppose, ahead of time. My husband and I set a grocery budget for the month, but every week is a little bit different, just depending on how many staples we need to stock up on and exactly what is in front of us. So this week I spent exactly $166, and we of course have things like rice. A lot of our carbohydrates are already at home. We keep like rice, potatoes, onions, really well stocked up. We have, some fruit already in the refrigerator, and we also have a lot of ground beef. That's something we usually would be getting every week. But we have a lot of ground beef in the freezer because we found a really good deal on grass-fed, grass-finished ground beef a while back. The other thing that I want to just note when it comes to strategy for grocery shopping is stick most of the time, 99% of the time, stick to single ingredient foods. This is how you are going to find the most nourishment through your diet without having additives and yucky stuff thrown in there. Of course, there are things like cheese here where it's gonna have a few ingredients. Just use your brain, that's reasonable. It's gonna have milk, salt, and cheese cultures. Use your brain when it comes to things like that, but generally speaking, you're going to be off to a good start if you are looking for single ingredient foods. And I also encourage you to sit down. I have talked about this in a previous video, which I'll link below, and just talk through with your family what your priorities are when it comes to food, because quality really does matter, but to varying extents. And so you'll see here that I choose to prioritize, or as I talked about, I have in my freezer some really high quality grass-fed, grass-finished ground beef. Now chicken is something that we compromise a little bit on, and I'll get more into that shortly, but I just think it's helpful to have your priorities ahead of time, have your game plan, because most likely you're not going to be able to buy top quality of everything, and so just figure out what works the best for your family so that you don't get stressed when you actually go into the grocery store. So here is the actual grocery haul. Starting out, I have some Parmesan cheese. I use this in a lot of different recipes. Today I'm going to be making a chicken and green bean casserole, and the Parmesan cheese is actually surprisingly high in protein. It obviously has wonderful flavor, but it also can be a great little protein boost to sneak a couple more grams into a meal. And it's dry enough that my husband, who is lactose intolerant, can handle it without a problem. So I have that Parmesan cheese. Every week, this may sound excessive, but we get 4 dozen eggs. These are from Costco. They are the certified humane cage-free eggs. And I would say this is an area that we kind of compromise on. I would love to get top tier, pasture raised, so to say, eggs all the time. Although I will say, I think it's okay for chickens to be restricted a bit because otherwise they're just going to get eaten by predators. So you need to bear that in mind. But realistically, I think what's going to be the best is eggs from chickens are eggs from chickens, where the chickens are able to root around and eat bugs from the ground and all of that. So this is kind of the middle ground. I always look for that certified humane label. You can look up which certified humane labels are the most credible, because cage-free in and of itself means pretty much nothing, but for it to have that third-party certification requires that certain standards be met. And anyways, this is just a good compromise, good kind of middle ground for my family at this time. And we eat eggs every single day for breakfast. I will often use them in recipes too, but usually we go through at least 7 or 8 eggs every single day. Okay, back here I have 2 packages of baby bella mushrooms. These are also going into my chicken and green bean casserole. Really tasty and just fun to add to different recipes. I've got a couple lemons, anytime you need a squeeze of lemon juice, I definitely use them a lot in my homemade chicken salad and mayonnaise. I have garlic here, just 2 heads of garlic. And then I have some old-fashioned oats right here as well. We'll just eat that as is. I'm going to be trying making some sourdough discard granola that a friend over on Instagram shared with me, or shared on her page. So I'm excited to try making that. And then I'll just go through some of the rest of the produce. Let me scoot back here a little bit so I can show you guys. We got some bananas. I've talked about previously how something I'm really focusing on this year is just eating a little bit more seasonally, a little bit more locally. These definitely do not fall into that category, but they are something that my husband especially really likes to have on hand, and they can just be really, really helpful and convenient. So I grabbed 6 bananas. We have a cucumber. This is going to be served with like a Korean pulled pork style recipe I'm making later in the week. And then just have some zucchini here. I know it is frustrating that stuff from Trader Joe's is always wrapped in plastic. It is very frustrating, but I actually think they can have really good deals on produce of relatively high quality, just depending. So then I have these frozen green beans. These are $1.99 from Trader Joe's. If you've watched any of my previous grocery haul videos, you've probably seen me talk about them because I think they're a great deal. They're again going into my casserole today, but I love to just throw them in a pan with some avocado oil, garlic, salt, and they make a wonderful side dish. I also have some ginger. This is going to go into that Korean style pulled pork as well as a curry I'm making this week. Anything like garlic and ginger, these aromatics, not only are they adding wonderful flavor to your meals, but they're also very nutrient dense, and they have compounds in them that are super protective for your body and can even be used therapeutically, medicinally. So just the more you include them in your diet, the better, of course, as long as your body's able to tolerate them, just given your bio-individuality and everything like that. So now, last thing, I have the chicken, but almost the last thing I have for that casserole is going to be this creamy mushroom soup. Normally what I get is the cream of portobello soup from Trader Joe's for this casserole, and it works really well. It comes in a little box and it's condensed. They were out of that, and so the guy who was helping me at the store recommended this. It is vegan, and generally I'm going to be very wary of a creamy soup like this that's vegan because it's just not an excuse, but usually it means that it is stuffed full of PUFAs, or those polyunsaturated fatty acids, which really cause inflammation in our bodies because they're rancid or because we have them out of balance. So you just need to be really careful when it comes to vegan products to make sure they're not full, especially of vegetable oil. This has a teeny bit of vegetable oil in it, but it's pretty low down on the ingredient list, and it is made with coconut milk. And coconut milk is actually a great ingredient. So I feel confident using this, and we'll see whether or not it actually tastes good. Who knows, really. Okay, so next thing I got, and I would consider this a little bit of a splurge, but it is so tasty. It is the Good Culture cottage cheese. This is the lactose free. It's actually all they had left at the store today, so it's what I grabbed, but it's also great because my husband can eat it. Again, he is lactose intolerant, and it doesn't give him a tummy ache. And what's really nice about this is it is actually cultured, has really clean ingredients, doesn't have any gums added to it, which is my #1 gripe with most cottage cheese, is that it has gums or preservatives or things like that added. This is just skim milk, whole milk, cream, salt, lactase enzyme, and then the live and active cultures. And it tells you exactly what those cultures are. And it tastes so good, and is a great way to get extra protein in. I love it as a snack. And then over here, last little bit of produce, I have a small bag of oranges. I got these at Trader Joe's this week. Fruit will vary depending on the season. Whatever is accessible, whatever is more seasonal is what we try to get. We'll often get like a really massive bag at Costco, but I didn't actually, yes, I did make a Costco run today, I forgot, but I wasn't going to initially, so I went ahead and picked these up. And they were still a pretty good deal. So I have a few spices here. I have some chili powder. I have some smoked paprika. This is something throughout the month that I'm always just having to kind of restock on spices as I need them. We have some chicken broth. So I shared in my homesteading video recently, I love to make my own broth. You save so much money, and this is so true, but I don't always have leftover meat parts, we'll say, to make broth with, and I need it for a few recipes this week, so I think you can get it for, at least comparatively, a very good price at Trader Joe's. So I picked up 3 containers of it. And then over here, I have some crushed tomatoes. I'm going to be making chili later in the week, both for my husband and I to eat, my husband and me, right, to eat, yes, and for a chili cook-off with our church. So I use crushed tomatoes for this, and usually when I'm cooking beans, I will do them from dry, and it's just super easy to do it that way. I have full control over them like being soaked and prepared properly, but I know that there are some things going on this week that will make me want to be a little bit more efficient in my food preparation, and so I decided to save myself that step for this week, and I grabbed 1 can of pinto beans and 2 cans of black beans also for that chili. So back here as well, I have 2 cans of coconut milk. We'll probably use 1 this week and just hang on to the other one, but this coconut milk is going to be going into a Thai curry that I am making. And way back here is the chicken. This is a 10-pound bag of chicken breasts. We get it frozen from Costco. It is incredibly cheap, just to be blunt. You get a lot for your money. And so as I was saying, chicken is one of those things that we compromise on. We really prefer to buy really high quality beef because it is really nutrient dense, high quality pork, higher quality eggs, really high quality dairy, especially just like raw milk, which I'll show you in a minute. Chicken in itself is a much less nutrient dense meat, and naturally it is much higher in polyunsaturated fatty acids. Now, in their natural form, those polyunsaturated fatty acids aren't necessarily a bad thing. Like, you do need some of them to survive, but when you're eating conventionally raised chicken, it's not great. And so what we do is we save money by usually getting conventionally raised chicken, but we just get chicken breasts because they are very, very, very low fat. And I'm not afraid of fat at all. I want to eat lots of healthy fats. I want to eat eggs. I want to drink raw milk. I want to eat fat from my pasture-raised pork, fat from my pasture or my grass-fed beef. That's all fantastic. But we get this chicken breast because we're saving money on it. We would be if we were getting a fattier cut, eating lower quality fat, if that makes sense. And we just prefer not to be putting that in our bodies. And this is also just very high protein, very condensed. So it's almost like supplementary. Like, instead of protein powder, literally just get chicken. And it gets boring sometimes, but anyways, we will cook with this throughout the week. And I love to do it in my Instant Pot. Just throw in there frozen with a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, maybe some pepper. You can add some different seasonings, cook it for like 30 minutes, and it just absolutely falls apart. And I use that shredded chicken in different dishes. So now let's get into some of the higher quality, more fun meats that I have over here. First of all, I have some chicken liver. Liver is something that we are working on eating every single week. Honestly, what's been limiting me lately is accessibility. I found that a lot of the stores, or the 2 stores rather around here that I would be getting it, often are not having it in stock. So I was looking for beef livers today, but they didn't have any. I was able to grab these chicken livers though. I've made plenty of videos where I talk about how I sneak this into meals. I have one up on my Instagram right now that I posted like a couple weeks ago. Maybe just a week ago, which you can go check out. But I grind this up with other meat, especially ground beef, and I will just hide it in meals, and you really can't tell it's there. Next up, I have some Italian chicken sausage. This was on special at our local co-op. I actually love eating like chicken or pork sausage, either one, for breakfast, even though it's like not a breakfast style sausage. I'll cook it up with some eggs. We don't usually do this because it doesn't always fit in with the budget. It's not always the most budget friendly option. However, These were on special. It fit in with the budget today, and I'm excited to enjoy these for breakfast throughout the week. And what's really nice about the Co-op is they just consistently source really high quality meats, and they're super transparent about their sourcing, and like they can literally give you the phone number for the farmer for just about everything in their store. So if you have any questions, you can reach out and talk to them. And I know that not every city is going to have that same sort of thing, but it's definitely worth looking around because you may be surprised by what you're able to find in your local community. And while it's probably not going to make sense to buy everything there because it does tend to be pretty expensive, there are certain things you can source really well, and it makes sense. Like I get my liver there, get my raw milk there, I can get high quality coffee there. And like today I grabbed this pork shoulder roast. This is what I'm going to be using for that Korean style pulled pork. I will marinate it, and then I will throw it in the crock pot, eventually shred it. And then lastly, in terms of meat, I got some chicken dacks. So this is so I can make more of my own stock. Specifically, I can do bone broth with these. Bone broth with this, it's gonna be a more gelatinous cut. And so I will throw it in with a bunch of veggie scraps that I've been collecting in my freezer and make a big pot of stock either later this week or early next week. Okay, last two things. I got some coffee from the Co-op. We'll get all different types of coffee, but it is important to us to get high quality, good tasting coffee. And this is from a place called Flying M's, which is really, really delicious. There's one in Boise where we live, and then there's another one in this town called Nampa, which is about 30 minutes away, maybe 20 if you just hop on the interstate. And they make the best homemade cinnamon rolls. They have really great coffees and a really sweet little gift shop. So if you're ever in the area, especially the Nampa one is like where it's at, I recommend popping in there. But this is their Peruvian blend, which I actually haven't tried yet. It says balanced flavors of dried fruit, chocolate, and cherries. Smooth mouthfeel with a mild acidity, and it smells phenomenal. So I am very excited to give this a try. And then the last thing is our raw milk. We pick up this raw milk every week. It is so important to us. It is raw grass-fed milk. They do supplement their cows, you know, if the fields are not full of grass. What am I trying to say? They will occasionally supplement with I can't exactly remember what the list of ingredients was, but this is actually one where one of my friends connected with the farmer and asked specifically, what do you supplement the cow's feed with? And the list checked out, at least for what we are comfortable with. And anyways, this is just a nutrient dense powerhouse. I usually use it in my coffee every single morning. I'll throw it, I mean, it's delicious by itself. I will drink it in smoothies. My husband and I really like ration it out so that a gallon will get us through the week, but it's our baby. We love, not really, that's not really weird, but we love our raw milk. And we're really, really grateful to live in a place where we have access to raw milk. And it's not actually priced through the roof, so that's also a blessing. But that's all I got in terms of groceries this week. I hope again that this gives you a little bit of insight into, yeah, what the pantry of a holistic nutritionist looks like, and how to kind of incorporate some more nutrient dense, clearly I need to stop the video now, nourishing foods into your diet. And again, just about all of this is single ingredient. The only things that aren't are this mushroom soup, this cottage cheese, which is reasonable, it's just about single ingredient, and then these sausages. But all that's in here with these sausages really are seasonings, and then that Parmesan that we already talked about. But whole foods, going to be super delicious. I appreciate you watching this video. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked what you saw, and of course subscribe to the channel. Until next time, bye y'all.